You were having a conversation with one of our players in the OHL asking you some questions, right? Or maybe you're just having a
You want me to tee
conversation.
it up, or do you want to just go?
You go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
so I was talking to a couple guys that we have in the OHL last week. We were doing like a FaceTime catch up, and I was just kind of reminiscing about when I used to play and how hard it can be to understand your coach. So I want to talk about that a bit today. Is trying to understand what your coach is thinking or what their philosophies are or whatever. Which I'm not saying you're gonna understand what they're thinking or whatever by the end of this, but it'll give you an idea of some of the things. Try to like get you outside of yourself to see things kind of in a bigger picture rather than just from your perspective. So I was talking to a couple of our guys last week, and then another guy that you're talking to right now, who's having a hard time. I was just remembering the mental swings of when things are good and when things are bad, and not understanding or not getting answers or whatever. You can't tell what your coach wants or what you're doing wrong or those kind of things. So I wanted to just go through some of the common questions a bit, but also just kind of the mentality in general of what coaches are thinking and some of the considerations they have to make and some of the things that maybe you're not thinking of as a player, because you always think of what's best for you. So as me on this team, what do I need? What do I need to progress and develop and whatever?
Yeah.
But your coach has 15, 18, 20, 25, 27 guys that he's working into a frame for himself. He has his own plan. He has his own goals and agenda and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to run through, especially from your perspective, because you've coached and played and all that kind of stuff, getting your thoughts on that topic just in general.
So common things that I just wrote down, a few things that we discussed that a lot of the kids ask. And now there's going to be a difference in answers or maybe even questions, maybe not the questions, but answers if you're playing youth hockey compared to junior or pro. But kind of one and the same.
Yeah,
there could be different answers. We're going to do that. But like, here's an example. Kid might be on a good line or a bad line. It doesn't matter. But why is a coach always mixing up the lines? Like, why can't we just play together for a long period of time, right? You got your three guys, your two D pairings. Why does he always have to mix them up? Okay, so there's one. Why? And parents will look at this too, right? Like you hear parents say that they're always mixing the lines up. I go, well, yeah, that's what you do. Why do you keep the power play together? It's not working. Like they've had 3 games that haven't scored a goal. Why do they keep them together? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so we're going to address that in a little bit. But those are questions people say. Like, if I went out there, I could probably score a goal. Okay. Why does a coach say things to me that I don't think he means? Right? You're going to get better. You're going to get more ice, or just keep working. Like those kind of things. Like, why does he keep saying that? Why doesn't he just be honest with me? That's a good question though. One more we put down there is why does certain guys keep getting opportunities all the time? Like why? Like why don't they give someone else an opportunity? Because we would obviously have some success at it, or give us a try.
At least give us a chance.
Yeah.
Why isn't he getting a chance?
Yeah. So those are 4 we put down. We could come up with others after, but you get the idea. As you ask questions and it doesn't make sense to you a lot of times as a player.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about these questions is, especially now that I'm out and looking back and now dealing with kids going through the same thing I went through, it's always the same questions. It's always the same questions, and it's always the same disconnect between the coaches and the players and the parents, because the parents ask the same questions too. It's almost like questions for parents or players. So it's always the same disconnect. It's always the same questions. So the reason I wanted to do this topic, because I was like, that's actually really interesting how it's always the same problem. It doesn't matter what team you're on, what age you are, whatever. It's always the same things that people are talking about. So I'm hoping the goal of this is to try to bridge the gap a little bit and make people try to see things outside of their own little window when they're watching, and maybe see more from the coach's perspective. So we're gonna be talking to the players and parents kind of as a coach, more or less. Like if we were the coach, this might be why we're doing some of the things we're doing,
Yeah, exactly. So for those questions, I just wrote down a couple things. It's very easy to watch a game and be critical of a coach and his decisions. So parents watch a game with, what's the coach doing? Like you hear that when things are going well, you hear a little bit less. But what is the coach doing? Like, why did he do this? Why did he do this? Players said that all the time. Like, what's he doing? Like, I could do that, or this line should be out, or whatever. And it's very critical when you have no skin in the game to sit back and make decisions. And you'll hear that a lot of times in the NHL, OHL, when people are assistant coaches or assistant GMs that become GMs, or assistant coaches that become head coaches. it's a whole different level. Like it's easy to say, if you're my head coach, to say, well, I think we should do this and this, and if it fails, you got to answer to the press. You got to answer to the boss.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know. You're the one that makes the final decision. A lot easier for me to make a decision where my neck's not really on the line.
Yep,
So
that's
that's one thing. Would you have something to add to
Nope,
that?
nope.
Okay.
Keep it going.
Most parents and players process what is happening for their own benefit. They're looking at what's best for me, or they see it through their own eyes. So when we see someone getting more ice than your son or yourself, whoever you're looking at it, you always look at it as not poor me, but I could do that. Why don't I get the opportunities? Yeah. And we're always being focused on us, whereas the coach is looking at on that given game, looking at making decisions for in junior and pro, it's 21 guys. In minor hockey, it's 18 or 16. So you got to make a decision for a whole lot of other people. So we're not just solely focused, or coach is not solely focused on how you feel about today's game, Eric. I'm just here to make you the best player and make all the decisions to make you happy. So I just said that based on 15 to 22 players. Here's an interesting part that I was thinking about is many players and parents, and players included, do not see the big picture that maybe the coach sees. Okay. Maybe it's so my wife would ask that sometimes. How come Charlie didn't get on the power play or when he was youth, right? Why does he get penalty kill? I go, I don't know. Or why he missed a shift? Maybe that only happened a couple times. And I go, maybe he was a mouthpiece. The parents don't see that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the coach said something, he didn't do it, or maybe the coach sent him out to do something this way in an important part of the game, or maybe early in the season, and this is a chance to solidify that. Oh, you listened to me, and maybe it wasn't that, but he did something not the way the coach wanted to. So now you don't get that opportunity again. Well, parents don't see that; they only watch their son working hard, or maybe he carried the puck and got a really nice goal or something, but it was a selfish way of doing it, and it wasn't within the system, and it was totally the way opposite of what the coach asked for. And it's like, no, sit down if you're going to do it. You think you're going to do it your way. So body language, it's like all these different things, or a little positional thing or technical thing where parents see it's always supposed to be, like if they see the offense, but they don't see that he didn't chip the puck out properly, and it leads to keeping the puck in your zone for too long. It's happened 3 times. Now it's your time to, you need to learn your lesson. Parents don't see those little things, or flamingoing a shot instead of blocking it. And these are like probably extreme technical stuff, but these are things that parents don't recognize. Yeah. Typically, yeah. Right? Well, and players can say the same thing. Yeah, but I scored.
Well, this is actually a big thing for me, the scoring a goal thing, because a lot of times, like when you're on a team, especially in minor hockey or in junior, actually, it doesn't matter. If you score a goal, that doesn't make you a goal scorer. Like if you score 1 goal, that doesn't make you a goal scorer, right? So if you're someone whose role is to be a third or fourth line player and you go score a goal, that doesn't automatically mean you get boosted in the lineup now to be on the goal scoring line, right? So if you have a great game and you're all of a sudden creating some offense when normally you don't do that, it'd be easy to think like, well, how come I'm still not on the power play, or how come I'm not getting this chance? I just scored 2 goals yesterday and whatever. And a lot of it ends up being short-term, near-term thinking, because if you're not the guy that's on the team for that reason, then I still have my other guy that plays right wing just like you, but he is the guy that's more skilled or can make better plays more consistently, and I'm going to keep that guy there because that's his job. Yep. So it's not always I did more offense, I should get more opportunity kind of thing, and I think that's an easy way or easy framework to fall into when you're mom and dad or a kid. It's like, well, he had a great game. He should be getting more opportunity. Yeah. He should be on the power play. He should or at least give him a chance. Yeah. Like that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's just that's not the way it is, because your coach, he has his guys that are supposed to be doing that. And you don't just reinvent the wheel because one kid had a good game or whatever, And like you said, it's different if you're in youth hockey versus playing junior and pro, but that's generally the framework at any level. Is I got certain guys that are good for this, I got certain guys that are good for this, and that's kind of, there's not a whole lot of change between those rules for that year.